Can you imagine a world without a wallet? Or fiat currency? Well, this is what this video is about. It's about crypto. The system itself creates the vision, in which the artist creates the art form. From music to architecture, pictures, and decor, currency is what brings ideas to physical form and shapes the system. People look at currencies such as our fiat as something secure and transferable. We work, find our friends, and rely on others based upon the need of security. This is what is primarily lacking in the cryptocurrency world. It's a day trader's paradise based upon not what profits, securities, and futures such a coin has, but upon the support and popularity a coin has in the marketplace. Anything from fast mining, quicker transaction times, no fees, or coins that trade out on a certain niche. You're dealing with the wild, wild west when you didn't have currency but tradable goods. What is for sure, many people are buying into the cryptocurrency for the investment value. This includes the technology, the network, the integrity of the cryptographic code, the decentralized network, and the incentives embedded in the network protocol, which encourages participants to contribute to the network and support it. These revolutionary ideas opened the new doors with the creation of smart contracts, smart property, notary services, and broader identity services. These blockchain technology advances protects our personal securities and is being accepted, especially with the Equifax hack, which recently happened. History is said to always repeat itself, but evolution proves no two things are created exactly the same. As people move towards the new cryptocurrency regulations, what will happen to the end of the Wild West of cryptocurrencies, such as the SEC, Security Exchange Commission, which regulates the exchanges, which recently brought Floyd Mayweather in trouble with his ICO, as the FCC increasing efforts to scrutinize the crypto market by pump and dump schemes, endorsements by influential people, and mass marketing of coins with no inherent value, and catchy words like blockchain, AI, and smart contracts. You have the snake oil salesman of the West grabbing your cash and cashing out. Other regulatory frameworks include the BSA, the Bank Security Act, CFTC, Commodity Future Trading Commissions, IRS, Internal Revenue Services, and various state banking departments in the USA. So on a global level, such regulatory frameworks also include the FATF, which is the Financial Action Task Force. So soon there will be new trading regulations which will be coming into effect, and new ICOs to take advantage, like T0, which is a distribute ledger platform for capital markets and is the first SEC and FNRA compliant to transform that ICO market. This ICO is backed by overstock trading on the NASDAQ OSTK, which has recently risen and doubled its share. But the question is this hype? Well, does T0 have any other exchanges than the exchange when the SEC starts to regulate? There will be many regulated exchanges when the SEC starts. And could T0 as a US exchange be a disadvantage? With new rules that are coming into effect, these are the questions of T0. But what we do know is if Overstock can sell anywhere near $500 million, which is 500 million, which is at what they are projecting, all without even selling any equity, incurring debt, and 81% owned by Overstock. This is purely free money for them. As financial institutions are slowly becoming interested in cryptocurrency, it is starting to go mainstream and is not just used for dark web purposes. Harnessing this technology to the fullest is already being established by large corporations with lots of revenue and influence within the market. Which is why I question the validity of an ICO, which is essentially a startup, to compete on such a scale. As the market continues to grow, we will have a better asset classification on crypto, as crypto falls into many different categories that are still being questioned. We know that crypto is a currency, capital asset, a security, and a commodity. And as things progress, we'll see what type of regulations are needed for more business models to adopt cryptocurrency. So, taking in 2015, a crypto survey found that 81% of users use crypto for online shopping, with the surge of Amazon agreeing for crypto. This is something to be looked at. 17% for gaming and gambling, 17% for anonymous buying, which is the dark web activity, 14% for credit card bills, and 10% for checkout and mortgage payments. As cryptocurrency gains acceptance, it can kick the banking players out, which is a very big plus. But as banks are only required for the point of exchange for fiat currency, basically we're going to see for this reason, as crypto gains acceptance, there is a less reason to change back to the fiat currency. And the double-edged sword is the stability of the crypto market, the reliance and trusted means of the exchange for the cryptocurrency, for the fiat. Thus, market growth will suffer until a solution is found to comply with the BSA monitoring and reporting. So, what are the risks? What is currency? What is currency at risk to retail? By introducing virtual currency, we are making shoppers increasingly at ease with online shopping. What I feel to get shoppers continually interested in shopping will be combining the VR technology with the shopping outlets, allowing virtual and real-world connection, which can entrap consumers in a new paradigm shift of consuming. There are many new companies interested in this venture. VR technology is getting larger and larger each year. Financial services and money transfers by third parties will be an outdated profession. When a decentralized blockchain technology creates ease of money transfer with fees as low as 6 cents, people can receive money anywhere in the world in seconds without any issues or problems. So it's very incredible. And as a decentralized ledger where money transfer is cheap, easy, and affordable, this will empower entrepreneurs to employ other people internationally with ease. So, if it is the system which creates the vision and in fact changes the perception of the consumer, society, the spectacle which encapsulates us all. So now, what is the economic control and the global debt crisis? November 17, 2009, Shanghai, central bank researchers said the IMF's special drawing rights, SDR, should go digital, typically ESDR. The SDR will ensure more widely used across financial markets to address flows of money into the global monetary system. SDR are as a use of a global trade. Okay, so what's an SDR? Well, SDR is backed by a basket of currencies and used as a financial agreement between the IMF and its members. SDR includes currencies of all major economies, which has a GDP taking into account for its currency weight. The SDR is going digital on the blockchain under ISSDR, which is discussed internationally, which could ease the liquidity gap and the falling US dollar. But the question is now, am I talking about a conspiracy? Am I talking about a complete revolution and change of the economy? What's happening here? Well, we have to go back to 1913 with the Federal Reserve Act, which was passed that planted the seed for what is called the world currency. The Federal Reserve became a primary reserve currency of the world by 1944 under the Bretton Woods Agreement. This agreement enacted to create a new financial system. The gold standard was too rigid after World War II, but at the same time, economists needed a kind of gold standard so countries won't continue to print money and devalue their currency to boost their exports. So, what was the decision? Was the US held 2/3 of the world's gold. So the US was the most influential player, and all currencies ended up linked to the dollar, and the dollar linked to the gold. So that 1944 agreement also created the IMF and what is called the World Bank. And basically the IMF, which lends money to countries that are in trouble and cannot attract financing from other sources. This was the main reason the IMF was created. And as you know, the World Bank. Many people know the World Bank under the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, which helps the development of countries grow. So, through the Bretton Woods system, which later died due to US printing too much money, devaluing their dollar to fund various projects, in 1971, Nixon ended that dollars could not be converted to gold because too many countries wanted gold for the US dollars. So, it's said that this could have been avoided if the foreign countries just accepted the US dollars as a better than gold and gold as a fiction, which seemed as a hostile takeover by the US to slow emerging markets, which are now called BRICS countries. The American dollar was used to promote American educational systems, which became a standard worldwide and was exported as a standard in what a school should be, as well as bringing the dollar's importance. Elite families from around the world sent their children to school to become educated in the Western institutions. This ensured all things American and culture be exported back to their culture and financial system, as well as create a military-industrial complex for the US around the US dollar, making the US one of the most powerful players there was today. But what about the SDR? Where did this come from? Well, what the IMF did was they held gold, but also SDR paper gold, backed by the US dollar by the Fed. And the US dollar could be used and interchanged with British pounds and various other economic currencies. So you have the gold, SDR, you have the US dollars backed by it, and the tradable amongst other nations. So the US acting as a bank, holding the entire world as long as the entire world accepted the dollar. But as we know, this didn't last, because in the fall of 1971 prompted a return of the dollar, which with the per dollar in 1971 there was a fall of the dollar, and 1973 the petrodollar was created, and this was between the US and Saudi Arabia. In 2008, a lot of money was multiplied to create quantitative easing on the economy, thus bringing the US dollar down again. Now, the dollar is coming to an end for a reserve currency. We all know this. The world is taking note and changing. And unfortunately, the American people are too distracted to take note of this. So the SDR has been building up since the 70s, as the dollar has been devaluating in 1967, $10 billion was added to the currency, and in 2015, $204.1 billion was added, which was distributed to its members proportional to its share in its economy. Due to the end of Bretton Woods, which many of its members lost a large amount of money, it brought the SDR surging completely down and increasing the gold bullion by 96%. China is currently being reevaluated, as its currency will be made powerful due to, number one, China is the largest importer of gold. China is also the world's largest miner of gold, and China has been boasting of 4 to 10 tons of gold in its reserve in 2015. China, which we know is the number one in mining Bitcoin, and not what many people know, is also owns 70% of the world's Bitcoin. But we're going to get to this later on, how this all unfolds with SDR. Lastly, we want to start to see what's happening, and this comes with in 2010 with the Code of Reforms. BRICS countries expanding the capital in the reserve by double, hence strengthening the SDR. Very major, this one. And I want you to look into the gold being exported by BRICS players and expanding the influence BRICS creates to the IMF. When they're able to do this, they're able to create a fully elected executive board, which is responsible for SDR allocation. This is very important. So what has changed? Well, before, the US Federal Reserve has been buying these bonds in a larger scale of the bank. So we have the macro, we have the Federal Reserve, the micro, the bank. But the Code of Reforms here show no Western power within the executive board of the IMF, as a geopolitical world will be balanced on the preparation of the Great Consolidation. We're going to have the macro SDR, now the micro, which should be the Fed. The new reserve currency, called ESDR, will be a virtual currency backed by the blockchain and will be an average of all major currencies. This would be remotely tied to gold via worldwide M3. M3 means total money supply measurement, which affects the economy. It's a type of liquidity. And this would be used between central banks, not you or I. Today's currency would be used, but valued one to the other, and measurement will be intended, similar to the old, but reflects the entire past of money creation as well as the government's pumping. All situations will resolve themselves once again, and the financial world will be booming and listening, awaiting the figures. All present fiat currencies will be used to serve people, valued against the standard reserve currency, while China will be the biggest player in the SDR basket, which encompasses the world's currencies. Now, is this SDR an end to Bitcoin? Because this is a new currency that's going to be online. It's going to be through the blockchain. What's going to happen with Bitcoin? Well, on the contrary, As we know, China owns most of Bitcoin. The IMF director, Christine Lagarde, in September 2017, very recently, says Bitcoin and Ethereum could be more stable than regular currencies and give regular currencies a run for their money. She is thinking of adding to the IMF a run fund for DFR, which handles the basket of currencies and digitization of SDR. That's very interesting. So SDR could be aided with Bitcoin and Ethereum. I won't go into more details on the SDRM and the sovereign debt restructurization mechanism in this video, but I will say the new economic structure we are seeing as a mass migration and liberalist ideologies being pushed through mass media and school system is a push for a multilateral economic system which ends the dollar's independence and as well the US as an independent country. This is the war we are seeing between Democrats and liberals on TV. Democrats wishing to bring back the gold standard to the dollar, while liberals pushing for the SDR basket of currencies. This will only bring the IoT, Internet of Things, a reality, a shift of the global powers through what's going to be called the Great Consolidation. That's what people are mostly fearing right now. Below, you'll find references to back up my statements, my points, and can be used for additional research. This video is designed to give complete vision to crypto and a starting point in understanding the new economic model. On this note, I wish you all happy investing. Magus.